Good morning, Jonathan Bowman-Perks here again, and I thought I'd begin today's video with a business card. And often when I travel on a train, it's easy just to get in your own world and ignore everybody. But it's also fascinating to engage people in a conversation. And this business card belongs, God, my words, to Guy Lovell. And Guy works for Shell in their motorsports division, and we had a fascinating discussion on many topics, particularly around the topic of leadership and the two themes of empowerment and problem solving. And we got onto the topic of the fact that there are far too many supermen and Wonder Women around. The fact is that leaders feel that they have to rip open their metaphorical t-shirt and have the big S or the Wonder Woman catsuit on, or be super people who can solve all the problems. Because of course, if they're perhaps in an engineering environment, that's what they love doing. They love solving problems. But actually, the point is, it's not about you. It's about the people you lead. And if you make it all about you, you start to clog up the system, because everybody is waiting for you to make a decision. Many of the leaders that Lee and I work with often complain that their email box is full, they're being overwhelmed with everybody bringing everything to me. When you start talking to people and indeed working with them, you find that actually they love it, because they actually want to be the one who everybody comes to, who's the hero or the heroine who solves the problems. But actually, once they start realizing that it's about getting others to solve the problems for themselves, that's when real change happens. We also were talking about Admiral David Marquet, who wrote the book Turn the Ship Around. It's a good book. I'm listening to the audio version of it at the moment. But in his stories, and they're very good stories that he has, it's about taking over a nuclear submarine, an American nuclear submarine, and finding that it's really underperforming. And again, many of the leaders that I work with, they find that they take over teams that are very much underperforming. And the problem with trying to be Superman or Wonder Woman is that everybody comes to you. They upward delegate. And you go, they're all bringing the problems to me. Well, it's because of you, because you need to control it all, and you try and be in charge of everything. So if you actually had more of an approach where they solve their own problems, it would be much more powerful. Rather than people coming to you and saying, what should I do about this? David Marquet and his approach got people to have the attitude of, when they came to them, they say, this is what I intend to do. And so the boss, all he needed or she needed to say was, great, that sounds good. Have you thought about this and have you thought about that? Yes, I've thought about that. Haven't thought about that, but I will include that. Thank you. Great, crack on. Let me know on such and such a date how it's gone. Record it in a system like Todoist or whatever you might have. So I intend to is a very powerful tip that I encourage you to get those who work for you to come to you and tell you. The second one is often people give you questions. What should I do about this? And that's the instant response, is to give them the answer. But actually, if you turn the question with another question, so okay, so that's your question to me, but have you thought about this and what are you going to do about that? It keeps the power with others. It passes on the problem solving to the people who are really good at it. The next thought I had was, as a tip, is I had some excellent training with Nancy Klein. I recommend her book Time to Think, and More Time to Think. But in it, one of her techniques is time to think dialogue. And essentially, someone brings you a problem. As the boss, you say, let's use a dialogue system. We'll go 2 minutes each way. What is the question? Ask me the question. Great, I've heard the question. Now let me ask you the question. Before I even speak, you've spent a lot of time on this problem. Let me ask you a question. You go for 2 minutes. Speak as much as you can about your latest thinking about the problem and what your thoughts are. Then stop yourself and ask me the question. I'll give you my freshest thinking. I'll speak for 2 minutes. I'll pass it back to you. And so it goes on. 2 minutes each way until you go, have you got enough from this? What are you going to do by when? But they say, but I brought the problem to you. I know. But you actually know how to solve it, and you've actually solved it yourself. Very good technique. Time to think dialogue. Have a dialogue, 2 minutes each way with people. And the third tip really is around purpose. And what is our purpose? And if you're clear on the purpose and the intent and the final outcome, then give people the power to go away and solve it. So that's the thoughts for the day on empowerment and problem solving.